Hi there, welcome to another Conversations with myself, Scott Brennan, and I'm here with Ian Sutherland again. Hi Ian.
Hi there.
Good to see you.
Good to be back.
We have already started a series
Yep.
week actually.
Yes.
So we're back in the prayer room on Holy Island where the community of Ian and Hilda have their regular prayer rhythms. Last week we began to talk about soul friendship, didn't
Yes,
we?
we did.
I don't know, is it worth just doing a little summary of where we went? We began to ask some questions, didn't we? Things like, what is a soul friend?
Yes, and what are we looking for in a soul friend, and what does that look like and feel like?
Yeah. In our experience, we've actually discovered that there is a little bit of a fog about what is a soul friend. And I think the language of a soul friend, there's two extremes for me. One is, like a romantic partner.
Yeah.
And then at the other end of the spectrum is this kind of professional,
Yeah.
highly skilled individual
Yes,
who knows how to unpick your soul.
Yes, yeah. If you Google soul friend, very often it comes up with what we call a soulmate in
Right.
romantic fiction and romantic novels. A
Right.
soulmate, and there is that's an important thing, and
Sure.
it could be that that's your soul
Yeah.
friend, but there are different aspects to soul friendship, and you've mentioned that before, Scott. You've kind of said you've identified about three kind of different types of soul friend. Or?
Yeah. So I've now been on Holy Island for 5 years, and one of the advantages of living here is that we have a Celtic Studies library next door, actually, and it's just filled with hundreds of books. It's like a little sweetie shop
Yes.
for readers, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's great. Yeah.
And there's a whole section on there on mentoring, leadership, soul friendship, guidance, all kinds of things. And so I've been reading loads around that subject, and in my mind, what I see from both modern practice, the Celtic saints, the Desert Fathers and Mothers, and the Church Fathers,
Yeah.
is three kinds of soul friendship. And they are the kind of parent figure, so like a spiritual father or mother. So in my case, Ray Simpson functioned as like a spiritual father to me. So that's the first kind. The second kind was in the historical sources they're called a confessor.
Okay.
And there's someone with a sort of highly skilled professional level ability to understand what's going on with a person.
Okay.
So they're like a professional, and I think there's a space in soul friendship for that kind of person, and they normally guide you through a season.
Yes. Okay.
In the Desert Fathers, it was often struggles, sin, or Satan. Spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
So you'd have a someone who was a little bit more expert in that field, and they would help you.
Yes.
And then the third kind was what I'm calling a peer mentor.
Peer mentor. Okay.
So the parent, the professional, and
Yeah.
the peer mentor. So for those of you that love to have three letters the same, there you go, three P's.
Yeah. So parent, professional, and peer. So like 3 P's in a podcast.
Oh dear.
Yeah. That's my wife's joke. So maybe just say a bit more. So are we looking for 3 different people as soul friends, or is it that one soul friend could actually operate in all 3 kind of areas at different times?
Well, I think what we need to do is not narrow it down, and I'm quite nervous about boxing it in, but I do think there are times when you have all 3 in life. I think they're rarely all 3 because a peer and a parent tend not to be the same person.
Yeah.
So in my case, Ray would function as a spiritual parent. There were times I was going through a really tough season, and he became very skilled at helping me.
Yeah.
And I would sometimes have people round about me,
Yeah.
people who, at my sort of age and stage spiritually, that would talk to me about it. And so, in some ways, that was 2 different soul friends.
Yes.
Does that answer your question?
I think so. I think we were talking before we started the recording, and I think that it's almost like you have a named soul friend, and as Explorer Guide, that's really helpful. That the explorers and Voyagers as well have a named soul friend, but in different seasons, that could be that person moves on across those three P's, which my soul friend does, but equally, that named person might not fulfill all those functions.
Yeah.
And some of the skill set does transfer across.
Yeah, so there was a period when I was leading a church where my mental health was not good, and I went to a professional counsellor who functioned as someone who unpacked my soul.
Yeah.
Why are you feeling like this?
Sure.
What are the triggers?
Yeah.
What are your motivations? You know, the sort of things that soul friendship would do.
Yes. Yeah.
But they were a professional counsellor, and it was temporary.
Yeah.
It was for a season,
Yeah.
and I didn't call them a soul friend.
No.
But at that point, I did have a named soul friend as a part of the community of Ian and Hilda.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And there's a difference in that a professional, that professional role you're talking about in terms of confessor or professional skills. I'm training just now in spiritual direction, and I'm seeing some of the nuances and differences that is to soul friend. Some of the skills are transferable.
Yes.
But they don't capture all that I've experienced in soul friendship.
Yes.
And that parent or peer.
Yeah. And I think my desire would be that we actually release more people into soul friendship. And I do wonder if having a narrow view, either as a spiritual parent, because let's be honest, who wouldn't want that kind of figure? You know, having had Ray Simpson as a soul friend was a great privilege.
I'm sure it must have been.
It was, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But there's not many people like that.
Yeah.
They're quite unusual, they're rare.
Yes.
Maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think if you narrow it down to a parent or a professional, I think we're actually restricting the flow of healthy soul friendship.
Sure. Yeah.
So we've talked about this, haven't
Yes,
we?
we have.
We would like to broaden it out and train up soul friends.
Yeah, and hopefully you would see yourself in one of those kind of three main roles, and that sometimes people get to feel, have I anything to give?
Yes.
Because they don't have that qualification, or I'm not in this particular role. But actually, as we see in the scriptures, you have many guides, but you don't have many spiritual fathers and mothers.
That's right.
And that's what we want to see released, is actually that people see that, and not just look for it themselves, but see in themselves a calling and a draw to offer that to others as well.
Yeah, I read something really interesting the other day. It was in a psychological paper that said that the children of the war parents that came out of the 60s hadn't been parented in that way. The parents were quite distant, and then they became quite rebellious. So the whole idea of teenagers and teddy boys and all that sort of thing. Yeah. And so what you see is there's a kind of psychological profile where people, when they retire, they try and live a second teenage experience. They travel and they buy an expensive car, or that sort of thing. And what it's done is, this is according to the paper, it's created a gap of parents.
Okay.
And I do wonder if in spiritual terms we're in a bit of a gap of spiritual parents. We haven't really had a culture that creates that within the West. I think in other the Orthodox tradition would be different.
Yes, yeah. So there's some food for thought, and for any questions or any comments, let us know. And if you want us to look at anything else in videos and talks in the future, then also just be in touch.
Yeah, we'd love to hear, wouldn't we? We'd love to get more questions and really engage with you and take this thing forward. So, well, thank you, Ian.
No, thanks, Art.
That's great, and we will see you again. Take care.
Bye now.